G'day guys, welcome to Boxing Deep Dive. I'm Lynden Hosking, and great to have you along for a special edition of the Deep Dive show because we are live for starters. Now, we'll just see how we go with the internet situation here. It's obviously the weather here in Victoria is absolutely shocking at the moment, so we'll see how we go. Hopefully the stream is okay. If it's not, don't stress because straight afterwards will be available on YouTube and you can view it in its full, or its entirety, I should say. Really happy tonight to get the gang back together. I'm, of course, speaking of Grant, Tassie Brown, and Peter Maniatis. How are we, guys?
Well, good, thanks, Lynden. The band's back together. It looks like the Backstreet Boys, or were they new kids on the block in the 80s? But great to have Peter back, mate. He's a living legend. And look, I'm excited, mate. And we had our 50th episode only last week, Lynden.
We did.
And, so this could be like the celebration because we didn't have Peter here. But welcome back, Pistol Pete.
Yeah, no, it's a bit like Seinfeld, I think, more than the Backstreet Boys, mate. Ain't more like.
Well, it's going to be a big one, guys. We probably won't get a chance to do the quiz. We'll save that for next week. But this is all about the massive car. I know Tassie have been looking forward to it, but we just want to focus on the events this week. We'll have plenty of time to beat up on Peter next week, I promise. But for this one,
I've restored a lot of those memory cells.
I'm sure the breaks would have done you good, mate.
Well, Peter, you're not going to believe this. And Linden's my witness, Peter. I swear, over in Vegas, as you know, Canelo fight with me and Lynden got around a bit. And we're there with Fernando Vargas and Jorge Linares. And Fernando Vargas goes, geez, man, I love watching you whip Peter's ass every week. I tune in every week. I love it, man. Like, you're in his head. I'm like, oh, thanks, Fernando. So, Fernando Vargas watches our show, Peter. So,
I know, mate. That's a big rap. That's a big rap.
Yeah, no. Well, next week I promise we'll be back. But
Lynden, you've got to stop photo bombing some of the stuff that Tassie was doing. You were getting some great selfies, and Lynden was sneaking in at the back. I noticed.
Well, is that right? I tried to be a little bit inconspicuous, to be honest. I let Tassie
get in the back.
He almost saved my life when I almost died at the Mobile Arena attempting to meet and greet Nonito Donaire because I actually jumped from one side of the building to the other. They thought I was Batman.
That was crazy, mate. There's a gap, about a metre wide, straight down, and Tassie jumped over it to get a selfie with Nonito Donaire. So it was the things we do.
Great guy, though.
Yeah, it is, yeah. We was Tassie's best mate by the end of it. All right, guys. Sorry to cut you off there, Pete. I was just going to say we are live, so we have got some people watching at the moment. We'll just see how we go
guys.
As the night goes on.
Dive. I'll try and be a bit sensitive tonight, and it's dangerous me being live because they all know I'm a bit unpredictable, but I'll try and keep it level tonight.
You'll be fine, mate. Well, we won't be. There's not a lot of controversial things to talk about tonight. We're just going through both events. So if you're out there watching, a little bit different tonight in this episode, you can drop a comment into the section there. I'll put them up on the screen. We won't be able to bring anyone on the show. I don't trust this stream having more than us guys on. So any questions or comments you might have about the show, or you might want to, or Tassie's been with the Haney team all week, and Pete, you're obviously pretty close to the Kambosos side as well. So if you want to ask the guy, I was with the Maloney boys yesterday, as you were, Tassie, as well. So if you want to ask a question about anything to do with Haney, Kambosos, the Maloneys, just put it out there, and we'll do our best to answer your question anyway. So if not, we'll just make it up. But we've got a couple of comments already. Shane came on the show the other night, so thanks, Shane. He's already put his picks in there. This must be for the Paro Jarvis card. So he's gone for Paro. Mayweather to beat Tapia. That's a surprise. Mckeon, Sky Nicholson, Rocky Ogden, and what was it? Biggs. What was his name again? I've got it written there.
Dylan Biggs. He's a good boy.
Yeah, Dylan Biggs is a good fighter.
Yeah,
and also Tate's a good fighter as well. I've seen Tate fight. He actually fought Ogden with Hero. Real good fighter, Tate.
Hang on.
Thanks for that, Shane.
Nah, Tassie cut.
God bless you, mate. God bless you. Hey, Peter's here, mate. He's looking like a nervous man. But he's been saved tonight. There's no quiz, but look at that smile. Look at them veneers. He looks so beautiful.
Don't say that, Shane. Don't give him a free rein. We might, as we get going, he might come out of his shell a little bit anyway. But look, guys, we're going to start with the first show, which is Friday night. So, of course, this is Paro and Jarvis. So the way we're going to work, we'll start from the undercard, work our way up to the main event, and, of course, we'll go to the Kambosos and Haney fight after that. You can see there, Tara says, usually has to do some creative editing most weeks, but no, it's all good this week, aren't we, Tazzy? So it's all good. All right, so let's start with the first card. I'll just bring us up there. So this is Paro and Jarvis, this card. So we'll start from the ground up. Let's go to the undercard for start, or we'll call it the prelims. So first of all, we've got an 8-rounder for the Australasian lightweight title. So is it Jallan Tate or Hallan Tate? Jallan?
Hallan Tate.
Jallan Tate, all right. So he's 9-0. Now he's coming up against Reese Evans. Now, if you can clarify this, one of you guys, Jallan Tate's 9-0, but Reese Evans is making his debut. I'm not sure how that works where it's for an Australasian lightweight title. Do you guys know anything about Reese Evans at all? I've never heard of him.
No, I don't. I'll take a guess. He's either had a big amateur career or a big MMA career.
Yeah,
sometimes they jump over for MMA and they don't mind taking whoever they want to fight.
Yeah.
But I can't really speak off my top of my head. I really don't know who he is.
Yeah. So he's 9-0 at the moment. And he looks like, the opponents haven't been slouches. They've been okay, just for someone that's obviously starting out his career. His last one was against Sachin Madulia back in September, so he won that fight by second round knockout. So look, I think the thing to look at this card is, Pete, is that the fact that these fights are on the card, whether it's his debut or not, this is a matchroom event. It's the first foray into Australia, so this guy's going to be able to fight.
Yeah, look, and Hallan Tate's a big puncher. He's a good kid, trained by his dad.
Yeah.
Really up north somewhere in Queensland. And I was looking at Hallan Tate for Caleb Kozak when we were up there. He's a real good fighter. I think he's only 20 or 21. So, look, it's a good fight for him. As we know, we don't know anything about Reese Evans' pro debut, but for him to be fighting over 8 rounds up against by 9 and zip, obviously he's had to have done something in MMA or amateur boxing. He's got to be at some type of level. They wouldn't have proved him for an Australasian.
Yeah, no, you're right. What about Tazzy with the next fight? Dylan Biggs and Merko. Pissy, 8 rounds for the Australian. Is that how you pronounce it?
I know both guys very well because I was looking at both of them from my boxer Bo Melbourne.
Yep.
So Dylan Biggs is trained. I think he's with Brendan Smith up in Toowoomba and his dad as well. Very good boxer. Very, very, very nice boxer. Merko Pizzi trains with my good friend Tony Delvecchio. And we were looking at fighting Pizzi on my show in 5 weeks, but they chose to fight Biggs. So we ended up with Jaden Riddle, who's a tough fight for Bo. So this is a good fight. We're fighting for this title straight after this fight. They're going to relinquish it.
Okay, all right, nice.
I've got this title booked in for my show.
Yep.
Shout out to the ANBF and the Australasian team, Adam Hyatt, great people. I predict Biggs will win this. Merko Pizzo is a heavy puncher, he's got heavy hands, but I feel like Biggs is a good, young, fresh fighter, and he's got all the skill in the world, and I'm picking Biggs on points.
Okay, Pete, I don't know really anything about the guys. I think I might have seen Dylan Biggs on a card somewhere, but I don't know anything about Pizzi. But either way, same thing as what I said before. If both fighters are on this for the Australasian Super Welterweight title, then they must be able to fight as well.
Yeah, I mean, Biggs has sparred Joel Camilleri heaps of times. Joel's a massive rap for him.
Yeah.
I know Pizzi is with Devecchio. I mean, he is heavy-handed. If I had to pick one of the two, it's going to be a good matchup, but I'd definitely go Biggs. I think Biggs should have a bit more ability for him.
Yeah.
All right, well, on to the next one of the main prelims. This one should be a good one, actually. Rocky Ogden versus Ben Cameron Hands for the 10 rounds for the Australasian Super Featherweight title. Now, Ogden's 2-0, Cameron Hands is 3-0. So, Tazzy, you know a little bit about these guys as well?
Yeah, a little bit, mate. I've seen their names mentioned a few times. Don't know too much about them, but they're both very handy. I think probably Ogden, I'll give him the nod in this one. But it should be a good fight.
Well, Ogden Pete is an ace boxing fighter, so he's probably technically the A side. But Ben Cameron Hands from pretty good stock. It's a pretty good fighting family.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be a good matchup. And when you get a big card like the card that, Eddie Hearn's putting on, you can't have any mismatches. So, I mean, this is a 60-40 fight. Ben Cameron Hands has got a massive chance of winning this. Rocky Ogden's not. He's not a clear-cut, massive favourite. This is a live fight. Both of them are undefeated.
Right, well, let's get on to... hang on, Shane said this fight will not go the distance. Okay, so he must know... I think Shane's actually from Brisbane, so he might know these guys. So thanks for that, Shane. But
thanks, Shane.
So who are you thinking, Shane? You didn't mention why it won.
Did he? Yeah, you're right. I don't think he did put a... Ogden, he said. Ogden, so... Okay. That was at the start. All right, well, let's get on to the main card now. And someone that... Tazzy, you know very well, and another one that we all know pretty well, and Sky Nicholson. Tazzy, you know Mousy Jacobs really well, being a Tassie girl. This is for the Commonwealth featherweight title, so it should be a good one.
Well, I've only promoted the last 3 fights, Lynden.
Okay. Got
her the world title, WIBA world title in March that she won, so I know Mousy very well. I had a lot to do with her in the amateurs as well. She's she's a hungry young girl. She's got a tough fight here against Sky Nicholson. Sky Nicholson's over 100 amateur fights, gold medalist at the Commonwealth Games, an Olympian, fighting family. She's based in England with all the sparring in the world. But I'm not gonna go past the Tassie girl, mate. I'm gonna back Mousy to come in, work hard in close, try and cut the distance, try and not give Sky the room to do her thing, to get into a groove and box, which Sky loves to do. She needs to make it a dogfight. And I'm sticking with Mousy Jacobs to win on points.
Okay. Pete, Sky Nicholson or Mousy Jacobs?
No, look, Sky Nicholson, she's world class. We've promoted Mousy Jacobs as well. She's fantastic. But I think Nicholson's going to be a special talent. And Eddie Hearn's going to put a lot of money into it. And I just like the vibe she brings to boxing. She's a clean-cut girl. She looks like she's just come from a country town like Bendigo, Lynden, and she doesn't, hasn't been polluted by the city, and she's just a sweet girl, and really looking forward to her progression because I think she's going to make a lot of noise.
Yeah, well, I think she's definitely a world champion in the making as well. So this is her 5th fight for the year, so they haven't mucked around with her. Mousy Jacobs, 6-3. Look, she's probably record's a little bit misleading, isn't it, Tazzy? Because she's fought some pretty good fighters. She obviously lost to Carly Sumner and Beck Hawker, two good fighters.
Beck Hawker's a machine, mate, and we probably underestimated Beck Hawker. And then obviously Carly Salmon. But I mean, look, she fights anyone, anytime, any place, Mousy, and that's got to be full credit to her. And mate, she's up against it. She got the call, and there she's on the Eddie Hearn undercard, mate. So, let's go, Mousy.
Yeah, and look, credit to her. Yeah, Sky Nicholson's obviously the A side, but she's taken the fight in Queensland, so. Hats off to her for taking the challenge, and I'm sure she'll give Sky probably her toughest fight that she's had anyway, worst case. So, all right, let's get on to the next one. It is Dempsey, Mckeon, and Patrick Corte. I think I've pronounced that right. Pete, probably his toughest test is Patrick Corte. He's 18-1-1 against Dempsey Mckeon, who's 21-0.
Yeah, there's also talk of Dempsey Mckeon fighting for a world title at the Gabba after this as well. So, when you think of Dempsey Mckeon, he's a big boy. He's obviously been brought up properly. They brought him up slowly. There's just dollar signs all over him. White heavyweight, great record. He's going to make a truckload of money. Just needs to win these couple of fights. Make sure you don't trip up because there's a bag of loot waiting for Dempsey Mckeon. Don't worry about that. He's got stacks of money in front of him.
Yeah, and Tazzy, Eddie Hearn's obviously been pretty vocal about what he's going to do in Australia, and he says he comes in peace, but I don't think you can come in peace when you're going to take over the country. But he's saying that Mckeon could be potentially an opponent for Anthony Joshua in Australia.
Yeah, I saw him say that before. Look, you don't get much bigger than Eddie Hearn, but coming to Australia and taking over, it's not that easy because they don't understand it's different to England and
What
America.
about it, Tassie?
What's that, Peter?
What about if you're Captain Cook?
Yeah,
hey, we're not starting on all that.
I just don't. You know, we've got some big promoters here, mate. No limit in that. Look, there's only limited fighters here, and I don't think they'll take over Australia at all. I think he'll probably do a couple of shows and then probably think stuff this. It's not big enough.
Yeah.
They're not big enough.
Well, Pete, that's a good point, isn't it? Because when you think about it, like, the only thing I'll probably say, on the other side of that is, like, it's not like it used to be when there wasn't a no limit, there was no DNL, even like Tasman Fighters, Ace Box. Not, I know they're on a level below, but especially what No Limit's doing at the moment and DNL right behind them. Yeah, it's not going to be an easy thing just to take over, is it? Because I don't think No Limit and even DNL to that extent are going to give up the turf without a fight.
Well, the show that Eddie Hearn I met him at, Tapia versus Goodwill, no one was there. And like, I don't know, look, what are the ticket sales like for this show? Do we know?
I think they said it's almost a sellout. There's a few tickets left, apparently.
Well, how many is the venue?
I think it's a couple of thousand. Is that right, Pete?
A couple of thousand?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's not a big venue.
What's a couple of thousand? In all honesty, if you're going to take over. Look, shout out to the guys. Hope they have a great show. Massive fan of the Carlo family. As a Carlo's a good friend of mine. But I mean, I really think that Eddie will come and do a couple of shows and think it's not worth my time. That's just my prediction.
Yeah.
I hope not, because it's good for boxing, but we're not big enough. There's only limited promoters. Peter knows that. There's only limited fighters, and most of these fighters don't sell. They're not sellers.
What
That's
do you
why
think,
you've
Pete?
only got Tim Zoo. You've only got Tim Zoo and a couple of guys that are pay-per-view stars. Paul Gallen's been the biggest pay-per-view seller in recent times. So I mean, it's not big enough. Not being negative. It's not big enough.
Look, to make an impact, you just can't come and do big shows because guys like No Limit, Dean Lonigan, Tasman Fighters, Angelo, us, we develop fighters from 0 to 10. That's where the hard work is. Get them to 10 and 0. So for us or any promoter to give them to a bigger promoter, there's got to be something there for them. So for Matchroom to come here and take over, they're going to have to do like 15 shows a year and have little small shows where you go, right, the local promoter's paying $600 a round. I'm going to be paying $1,200 a round. I'm going to sign up all the guys turning pro. I'm going to make an infrastructure. I'm going to pump $1 million into it. And in 2-3 years' time, I'm going to have fighters that are 10, 15 and 0. And I've started them from 0 to now, and I own them, and they're under my management, and I can do whatever I want. That's the only way. You can't come and transplant shows in without doing the infrastructure.
Yeah.
100%, Peter. 100%.
Is he prepared to do that? Or is he prepared to hire people to do that? Tassie could hire you. You do that for him. Imagine doing a show in Tassie. You know, you could make Tassie the casino or whatever and do 15 shows a year.
I could do it in my sleep, Peter.
We could do the quiz from the blackjack tables in Tassie.
Mate, 100%. Bit of trivia too for you fans. The Hobart Casino, West Point Casino, was the first casino ever built in Australia. Tasmania got the gambling licence before any other state. Fact.
Yeah, that's true.
I know it is. I just said it.
Because everyone used to go to Tassie to punt. I know that.
Yep. Oh, well, there you go. Well, so back to this one. So Corte is probably going to be his biggest test. His only loss was to Andre Mazanik back in 2018 in Germany. Has won his last, I think, 6 fights, whatever it is. He did have a draw in there as well. So yeah, you think Mckeon being the A side, Tazzy, he'll be favoured to win. But you can see this IBF Intercontinental Heavyweight title, but it won't be an easy one for him.
Yeah, mate. Look, I don't know nothing about Corte much at all, and McKeon's the A side, so he should win. Unless he trips on the way to the ring. I think he should win.
We never know. Stranger things have happened. Pete, what do you think? Do you know much about this Patrick Corte?
No, I don't. But look, McKeon just got to basically, be awake early because normally it's the early rounds in the heavyweights where the upsets happen. The underdog comes in, he lands a big shot, changes the whole fight. He just has to go in there, be fresh, be early, don't get hit with anything stupid like Lucas Brown did on the Cambosos card. I mean, that first round.
100%. I thought his career was over. I thought he was
those early rounds.
Lucas Brown.
Yeah.
And then
Yep, well, stranger things can happen. You're right, James. He does look like a beast, a big lumberjack or something, but looks can be deceiving sometimes. You'd think that he's been brought in to make Dempsey Mckeon look good. Just my opinion.
Hey, James, you think he looks big? See Peter Maniatis with his shirt off, mate. I'm talking a beast then, mate.
Oh, jeez. All right, let's get on to the semi-main event. It is Mateo Tapia versus Abdullah Mayweather. And Tazzy, Tapia's managed by our good mate Mike Altamura. And this won't be an easy one. This will be a tough fight.
Mike Altamura, the best in the business, and one of our co-hosts and our dear friend, my dear friend. Look, this is a great fight. 50-50. Mayweather's been going good lately, but I think Tapia's a special fighter. Probably hasn't come onto the Australian scene yet. Not many people know him, but I've known him since the amateurs. He's a big puncher. He can box. He does a lot of rounds with Tim Tszyu. He's a very good fighter, and I think Tapia will win this, and probably could actually launch him on really to make him known more. It's a good fight. I'm picking Tapia on points.
Okay, yeah. Well, as I said, Pete, so Mayweather's 7-0, Tapia is 14-0, but it's probably fair to say this would almost be his biggest test as well.
Yeah, it would. When I see WBA Oceania, rest in peace, Francisco Martinez too.
Yeah.
The WBA officer from New Zealand. Look, this is going to be an interesting fight. Tapia hasn't been that active of late. Mayweather's very flashy. And looks the part. So this will be a good 50-50 fight for mine. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think. It's in Mayweather's backyard. Just how much is Tapia trained up for this? He's got to be trained up to the minute. Tony DiVecchio will be putting in the hours with him. So it's going to be a very, very good, interesting fight.
Yeah, all right. Well, that brings us to the main event of the evening. I can't wait to see this one. It's Liam Paro, Brock Jarvis of the WBO Global Super Lightweight title. I don't think really titles are, it's good for rankings and all that sort of stuff, but I think it's 12 rounds, so I think it's both these guys' first time going 12 rounds. So, Tazzy, how do you see it panning out?
Yeah, look, it's been a topic of conversation this week. A lot of people ask me my opinion. Look, I know Brock Jarvis very well. Obviously, my relationship with my former coach, Jeff Fennick, my dear friend. And I'll know Brock, since he's been with Jeff. Liam Paro is a very good boxer. He's with a good team in the Carlos, and he's been over in America. We caught up with him over there, sparring, Shakur Stevens' his last opponent. I think he's even sparred Shakur, I think, a while ago, Haney. So he's been over, he's had some great sparring in America. But I know Jeff Fennick, I know Team Fennick, and I know how superior, confident he is in Brock. Now, Jeff sees something special in Brock, and Jeff's trained everyone. Every great fighter in the last 20 years, from Danny Green, the Victor Chingan, the Hussein brothers, Jeff's trained them. Luke Jackson seen Brock Jarvis spar recently against Paul Fleming and a couple of other good fighters, and he said he's looking amazing. So no disrespect to Liam Paro and the Carlo team, because they're great people. This is just purely a pick. I'm picking Brock Jarvis to beat Paro. Stoppage inside 8.
8 rounds, okay.
In a war.
Pete, what do you think?
Purely boxing. Purely a boxing tip. Trouble with all of us, we're friends with everyone. We all know the Australian boxing community is so small. Angie Carlo, Alfie, Nathan, I love him. Liam Paro is a great kid. Yeah, obviously my loyalty, I'm a Jeff Fennick man, but this isn't about loyalty. This is about picking a fight. I think Brock, he's got such a work rate. He's so strong, and just the way Jeff believes in him. Unless Jeff's, lost his mind, which I don't think he has, I'll go with Brock.
So, Pete, one thing that struck me as well, I saw him at the press conference yesterday, and even though Brock Jarvis is coming up another 2 divisions after already going up 2 divisions, he looks massive. He looks so much bigger than Paro. Paro already looks sort of almost weight drained now, where Jarvis is huge. Yeah,
I know. That's the other thing. Where does Brock Jarvis sit at 140 at super lightweight? We haven't seen him up against a real seasoned guy. And Paro's been there for a while. So Paro's had good camps. He's had good sparring partners. He's got a good team. Terry Romanis fought Paro, and I got to see him firsthand. Look, he's a world-class fighter, and so is Jarvis. This is what Australian boxing's all about. This will take boxing to new levels here in Australia as well. And I can't pick this fight. See, I've gone over it a few times in my mind, and I keep changing my mind on the outcome. So that's how hard. I mean, I spoke to Jeff, and we were there with Jeff at the Hall of Fame night, and he was supremely confident. He was supremely, and Jeff. I mean, no one's a better judge at a fight than Jeff. So he's got no issues with it. So, you know, it's I don't know. I mean, if someone's got a gun to my head and I had to pick someone, I'll be back in a draw. How's that?
A draw?
Oh, Peter.
Oh, come on, Pete.
Peter, come on, mate. Peter, not good enough.
At 26 bucks.
Seriously, take off your Versace shirt. Stop going to Louis Vuitton and dropping 10 grand every bloody week. Make a pick. Seriously. Or I'm not moving on. I'm not going to the next question, Lynden. I'm not going to the next topic unless he makes a pick.
Come on, Pete. You got to pick someone. Come on.
If I had to take a pick, I'm going Jarvis.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all you have to do, Peter, is make a pick, mate. That's all you have to do. I know you like to be like Switzerland.
I'm quite comfortable going with Paro as well. I mean, I just can't pick him.
I know you like to be Switzerland. In World War II, you were Switzerland. I know that. But you got to make...
If I really thought one of them was going to win, I'd say it.
On your Shane. Beautiful. Beautiful, Shane.
That's from sitting on the fence, I gather. Splinters, Pete. I'm gonna look. I'll explain probably why. I can see it going both ways as well. But one thing I look at it depends on what type of style they fight. Now we all know that Brock's going to get in close. He's going to widen the stance. He's going to try and keep Liam Paro in, on the ropes or in the corner. He's going to try and get in close, rip, hook, uppercut, all the rest of it in close. I think if he does that, Brock Jarvis wins. Liam Paro wins if he gets off the ropes and out of the corner, takes it more to centre ring and keeps Brock off him with, because we know he's got great footwork. He's got good skills with his hands, good combinations. That's the way he wins. I'm going to, and like you said, Tazzy, it's a really hard one to pick because we know both guys, know both camps. But look, I'm going to probably lean towards Liam Paro only because I think he's a good enough fighter to not let himself get trapped on the ropes. I think he's good enough. A lot of the other smaller guys that Brock's fought have just been trapped with nowhere to go. And the way he widens his stance like Jeff used to do and just keeps them there with no way to get out, I think it's great. I just think that Liam's smart enough and skilled enough not to be... and I'm assuming, well, if Alfie's the trainer we think he is, he's not going to... The whole focus would be to not stay on the ropes or in the corner, get out of there and get back to centre ring. So I think if he does that, which I think he will, I think it's good enough to keep Brock at bay. Although what I will say, Pete, is that 12 rounds is a long time to stay away from Brock Jarvis, I would probably think.
Yeah, no, it'll be an interesting way it's going to finish, but great for Australian boxing.
Oh, exactly. That's the thing. That's the thing, Tassie. We haven't sort of discussed how good this is for Aussie boxing, regardless of who wins. How great it is for the sport.
Thank you, Rowan. Thank you for all that. Everyone wants Liam. Yep. Thank you for your support there, and I'm sure Liam, obviously, he's got a massive career regardless of the result of this fight. Lynden, I'm glad you went for Paro because I'm glad someone did because it is a 50-50 fight. So I'm glad that. Look, any company in boxing, I don't know. I just got so much faith in my old coach Jeff Fennick that he knows something that we all don't know. So anyway, but good old. You got a new nickname, Pistol Splinters Maniatis.
Splinters Maniatis, I like it.
And I must say, when he was playing football, I heard he got a few splinters. I'm sitting on the bench. That's what I'm saying.
He hasn't lost a beat, has he, Pete?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't.
All right, well, let's get on to the...
Let me say something, Lynden, sorry, before you go.
Yep.
I saw you caught up with Lou DeBella the other day, Peter. How was he?
Yeah, Lou's great. The team's good tonight. They're all out to dinner tonight as well. I was meant to go, but No, it's just too much rain here. It'd be hard for me to get a car park and get in there and get drenched.
And you
But
had the
they're all
show to
out.
do, of course.
And we had a show here. I committed already to the new boys. So
Yeah,
Well,
I'm the same, mate. I've got an offer with Team Haney. I'm actually taking Devin's youngest brother, Sean, for to play tennis tomorrow. He's a little tennis ace. He's only 12 years old. So I told Bill Haney, who's my new best buddy, that I'll be taking take his son down to hit some tennis tomorrow.
Can you play tennis?
No, I'm not doing it. I organise it with a mate of mine. So, Devin's younger brother, Sean, his favourite player is Nick Kyrgios. And I show Nick Kyrgios as one of his practice partners. So Nick's in Sydney at the moment, but one of his mates is going to have a hit with him.
Okay, awesome. That's great, isn't it?
They're great guys, the Haney team. Very humble. I've got to know more over. Sorry, Peter.
I was going to ask them last time. Are they related to Lee Haney, the former bodybuilder, Mr. Olympia?
Not sure. I can ask them.
Yeah, ask them if they're related to Lee Haney, who's from Georgia. 7-time Mr. Olympia.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So it's been good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get on to that card anyway. Now we're onto it. So we'll get on to the big one on Sunday. What starts in the morning. It's the main event in the afternoon. I think about 1:40. I think they were sort of saying the card actually I think kicks off at about 9:30 from what I've been told. So it should be an absolute ripper. Televised, of course, on main event, $60 if you want to grab that. So it should be a ripper. Just getting back to the other fight, Pete. You said before that it could be a pay-per-view. Is that right for Paro and Jarvis? I thought it was on Zone for free.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
No, it's a pay-per-view in Australia, but free outside of Australia.
How much is it in Australia?
$50, I think it is.
What?
That's what. Is that what you were told?
I haven't even looked, to be honest. I'll just find
out.
Yeah.
I'll have a look.
It wouldn't be any less than 50.
You need to let the listeners know.
That's a lot of money, isn't it?
Come on, Lynden. You're the host, mate.
That's an expensive weekend.
You're
Jerry
Seinfeld. I'm George and Pete's Kramer.
All right, well, we'll look into that anyway. But, geez, that's an expensive weekend.
Can't wait to see you with the tennis lessons, Tazzy, with young Haney.
Yeah, I won't be doing the hitting. I'm just organised for someone to have a hit with the younger brother. I'm the go-to guy. I'm the guy in Vegas, Peter. Then get anything you want. Anything you want. Booze, women, whatever you want, Peter.
Where would you be going to play tennis tomorrow?
We're going down by Morris Way.
Indoor or outdoor?
Indoor.
Excellent, because it might rain.
I think it might, Peter. I'll tell you now, Peter, if you get out of boxing, you should become a weatherman.
Well, I'd love to see you play tennis, though, Tassie. What? I mean, as Lynden said, can you play tennis? Let's have a look. I mean, this 11-year-old or 12-year-old kid will wipe you off the court.
I think you might too, Peter.
Well, just on I can't find anything about the pay-per-view on here. So if anyone's out there watching, I'm sure there's someone who can tell us whether it's a pay-per-view. But I'll be pissed. I'll still buy it, but I won't be happy about it.
But Lynden, you dropped
Lynden, you just instead of having crayfish on Saturday night, have prawns. And
I'll be having fish and chips. Sorry, Tazzy.
Lynden, you dropped plenty of money in Vegas, so you're not a tight ass. Because in Vegas, you dropped plenty.
Yeah, but mate, I normally eat at food courts in Vegas, not at expensive restaurants. So
yeah, I know.
Anyway, all right, there you go. Rowan says it's not pay-per-view. I hope you're right, Rowan, because I can't find anything about being a pay-per-view. But let's maybe hope, Pete, that it's a gift from Eddie Hearn as a first-up offering to say you can have this one for free.
Yeah, it'd be great.
All right.
But someone told me it's pay-per-view in Australia, but not pay-per-view outside of Australia.
Yeah, well, it does sort of make sense, doesn't it? Yeah, it does make sense. All right, let's go into the main card, guys. On this one, we'll go to the undercard for starters. So 5 fights on the undercard. It's going to be a big day. Now, apparently, all the fights are going to be on before the main event this time, not some afterwards, from what I'm hearing. So it's going to be an early start because I'm looking at there's like 70 rounds. So I don't know how they fit that in like
8 a.m. start. It'll be an 8 a.m. start.
Geez, that's amazing, isn't it? I feel for the fighters. Holy shit! Imagine being a pro fighter. You got to get up. You got to get strapped. Everything like that. You'll be there at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well, John
What about him?
Manu's on the card. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
no, it's going to be the card from top to bottom is just stacked. So let's get into it. So this is the main prelim. So it starts off. We'll start at the bottom. David Nyika versus Titi Moyu Saga. 8 rounds in the cruiserweight division. Looking at the records there, Nyika is 4-0. Titi Motsu Saga is 4-0. Both from New Zealand. So 8 round. Tazzy Nyika obviously shows a bit. So you'd expect him to win this one.
Yeah, I was with him today, mate. Interviewed him earlier today. Spent a bit of time with him last time he was here. He's a lovely guy. Trained by Noel Thornbury. Shout out to Noel. He's a legend of our game, as you know, Peter. Thornbury's great family. Yeah, mate. Look, he's an Olympian. He's bronze medalist, I think. He's they've got. I think Duco's got a bit of. They put a bit behind, a bit of backing. So I think he's destined to one day fight for world title. So I think this guy will just be another stepping stone on the way up. And I think David Nikita, I don't know much about the opponents. I don't know if it's a points or a stoppage, but David Nikita gets the win.
Yeah, it should be the case, Pete. And a guy that we know pretty well, John Manu, is fighting Adrian Sosa over 8 rounds. So if you look at this on paper, so John Manu's 6-0-1, just got a win over in Canada, by the way, at super welterweight, so he went up 2 divisions. Adrian Sosa is from the States. He's 12-0. So he looks like he's pretty formidable with 9 KOs. But if you look at his record, I don't think he's fought anyone with a winning record yet. So looks can be deceiving. And I think he's going to have his hands full with John Manu.
He will. And Adrian Sosa hasn't fought in a while as well. So there must be
when
something.
Did he fight? Let's have a look.
There must be something behind that. I think he hasn't.
Over a year. September last year he fought.
Yeah, so I mean, he's been inactive for some reason. Hasn't really fought anyone of note. And John Manu in his own backyard, that's going to be a good 50-50 fight.
Yeah, I think John Manu, and Tazzy, you're a rap for John Manu as well. I think he can definitely get the job done in this one.
Yeah, I don't know Adrian Sosa, but I like Manu. I picked him a while ago. He went over to Canada and went up 2 divisions. I mean, he's a southpaw. One of the most underrated guys at super lightweight, and I think a lot of Aussies probably don't want to go near him. He's a very, very good boxer, John Manu.
Well, he could quite easily, especially if he wins this one, could be in the mix of fighting some of those other, like there's lots of light welterweights and welterweights around. So it's a great opportunity for him. And I like the fact that it's an 8-round fight. I think John's the type of fighter who will get better as the fight goes on. And I'm not sure whether he's actually gone past 5 or 6 rounds at the moment. So this will be good for him, getting a good 8 rounds under his belt. But on to the next one, Amari Jones versus Tej Pratap Singh. We all know Tej Singh very, very well. 8 rounds at super welterweight. Now, Tazzy, isn't Singh normally a middleweight or super middleweight? He's going down to super welterweight.
Yeah, look, Amari Jones is a gun, mate. He trains with my good friends, Coach Padman. I think he dismantled another guy on the last show, on the last Haney Kambosos on the card. But Singh has got that awkward style. He closes up shop and just keeps coming forward and gave Hardman a tough fight. I think he's been a bit inactive. Amari Jones, I think, is something special. So I think Amari Jones, he might stop Singh. I mean, he hasn't. I don't think no one stopped Singh before. Not sure.
No, they haven't. No.
Amari Jones is a guy. I think he's got that X factor.
So 16-5 is Singh. He hasn't fought actually since he was beaten by Isaac Hardman back in December 2020. So it's almost 2 years since he's been in the ring. And I think he's now based overseas in the States, isn't he? But this will be a tough one against Jones, who's got some big raps on him.
Yeah, he was. And look, Amari Jones, I saw him spar a few times as well. He sparred a couple of the local guys. He's definitely got real flashy hands, good power. I think this is his biggest test to date, and I think he's got everything it takes to be a real good quality fighter. And Pratap Singh's no walk in the park, though.
No, he's tough. Yeah,
this will be an interesting fight on paper. I think it'll be a lot closer than what people think. I think Singh will give Amari Jones his toughest fight to date.
Yeah, I agree. And Amari Jones fought on the last card here and wiped out Ankle Shooter in 2 rounds. He's a really tough customer himself.
He can fight.
Yeah,
no,
good shooter,
no
good
slouch.
fight. Yeah.
So, yeah, that'll be a ripper. And you're right, Pete. Singh's a tough guy. And if Jones can get Singh out of there, that'll be a real feather in his cap because not even Isaac Hardman can get him out of there, who can obviously punch. And that was a 10-round disputed decision. So that should be a really good one. Let's get on to the next one. It's a middleweight fight at over 8 rounds. Lorenzo Simpson versus Marcus Haywood. So Simpson, I think they're both from America. Yeah, so Simpson's from America and Marcus Haywood actually might be an Aussie. New Zealand, sorry, is a Kiwi. So 6-4-1 against Lorenzo Simpson, who's 11-0. So Tazzy, you'd expect Lorenzo Simpson to be the heavy favourite in this one.
Massive fan of Lorenzo. Watch him as an amateur. He trained. He's from Baltimore, where he come up under Tank Davis. They're good friends. I met one of his coaches the other day. He's a nice kid. I interviewed him when he first got here. He's got it all, mate. 300-something amateur fights. I think he was going to be an Olympian, but they decided to turn pro. He's someone to watch. He's got great power. Lorenzo Simpson, I think he'll knock this guy out, and God knows how far this kid's going to go. Could be a future world champion.
Yeah, what about you, Pete? Do you know anything about the opponent from New Zealand, Marcus Haywood, 6-4-1?
I know Diabella really rates Lorenzo Simpson, and you know that's a guy I'll move him along anyway, so he'll get bigger international fights as he keeps climbing the ranks. There's definitely something there.
We think, hopefully maybe a couple of these fights might not go the distance, or else we'll be there till about 9 o'clock at night, I reckon, the way we're going. So I think the undercard is 60 rounds. So you would think, some of these might not, or the banking on some of them that maybe not going the distance. All right, so let's go to the last of the main prelims before we get into the main card. It's an 8-round heavyweight fight. Hemi Ahayo versus Faga Apello. We all know him as, Opolu, sorry. We all know him as Django. And, they're stepping Django up. Tazzy, he's a tough boy, but he's up against Hemi Ahayo, if I can pronounce that right. He's 19-0.
Yeah, look, I can't say much. I don't know anything about either guy, so I'm really not good one to talk about this one. I don't really know the guy. So
all right, well, okay. Well, Django, he got stopped by Lucas Brown, didn't he, Pete? And he was Justice Huni's first opponent as well.
He was.
Oh, is one of these the Django?
Yeah, Django.
Which one? Django?
Faga Opolu is Django.
Oh, I didn't know him as Django. Yeah, I know Django. Django's a good fighter.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy? Is the other guy?
Hemi Ahayo. So he's 19-0. He's from New Zealand.
He's a Mike Tyson lookalike, Hemi Ahayo.
He does look like Mike Tyson a bit.
We had him on when he fought Andre the Giant on Danny Green Bellante card, the fight I promoted with Danny. He's a massive puncher. He's with Diabella now. He's going to be a dangerous fighter. He's under 6 foot, but he's built like Mike Tyson and he punches hard with both hands. I think Hemi Ahayo's an absolute certainty in this fight. Okay. I think he could even stop Django. So there you go.
Okay. Yeah, well, obviously coming down from Fortitude Valley up in Brisbane is Django, trained by Luke Melton and Steve Della, of course. I'm sure he'll...
Luke, is he? Yeah. Luke is my man. Lukey, if he's with you, mate, he won't be getting stopped. I didn't know that.
On you, Lukey. On you, the boys at Fortitude, Stevie, Della and Lukey.
Yeah. So looking forward to catching up with the boys when they come down on the weekend. So, all right, guys, let's get on to the main card now. Tazzy, we've obviously seen the Maloney twins training there. Now, I think Jason might have said yesterday that they're actually going to be one after the other on this card, no one in between, because that's what they want on TV, which is surprising. So we're not doing it sort of out of turn here. We're going to start with the girls, then we'll go into the two Maloneys. But this is a massive fight, Pete. We obviously know these girls really well as well. Shanika Neeks Johnson against Susie Q Ramadan, and what a brilliant fight to have on this card. Yeah,
I've seen them both spar many times.
Yeah.
So we're both at Sam Labruna's gym, and I used to get down there a fair bit and watch them spar when he was training Joel. So I've seen them both spar. Susie had it over Shanika in sparring back then, but Shanika was just a young pup, and we're talking 4 or 5 years ago. I think now Shanika's grown as a person. She's an athlete. She's learning quick, and obviously Susie's past 40, so it's leveled it out. This is a good 50-50 fight because Susie is always hard to beat. She's very technical, and it's going to be a hard fight to pick, this one, because there's got to be psychological scars from Shanika with the sparring. You know, they have sparred, and Susie has won that sparring against her. So it's going to be very interesting.
But not just that, Tazzy, Shanika's obviously changed trainers as well. Obviously, Sam LeBruner's had some health issues. So there's also that on top of everything as well. So that's got to be a little bit unsettling. But I don't think she's actually got an in-place sort of trainer at the moment, or a permanent trainer. It's an interesting one, isn't it? That she's gone into this fight without a certified trainer.
Well, you know that I'm in the corner in this fight, don't you, boys?
Yeah, you said that. Yep.
Who are you in the corner for, Tassie?
I'm in Susie's corner with Limcheka.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm part of this fight. So I'm in the corner of Susie. Answer your question. I saw Shanika today in the change rooms at the press conference, because I know her pretty well. She had a lady, and I said, I just want to let you know I'm against you. She goes, yeah, I thought you might be. I said, I'm in the corner. I just wanted to let you know face to face, because I'm not like, because I know her. Yeah, I think she's just with her pad holder. I don't think she's got a in-place trainer since LeBruner. But like Peter says, she's an athlete. She's the bigger girl. There's 2 divisions in between both these girls. So between super bantamweight and super flyweight. But I've seen Susie spar lately. She's on fire. She's feet work in and out, punching in bunches. She's looking really good. So look, I'm not going to be biased. I think Susie experience and speed plays a big factor in this fight. Shanika's obviously been on TV shows lately and a bit of the Hollywood life, and you know what I mean. I think, with full respect to her, she's a good person. I think Susie wins this fight, so on points.
Okay, Pete, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's hard, like Tazzy said, it's a 50-50 fight, because you've got Shanika Johnson, who's a lot younger than Susie Ramadan. She's going to be a lot sort of heavier, and you'd probably imagine stronger than Susie as well. But on the other hand, you've got Susie Q, who's got all the experience. She's had multiple world titles along the way. So it's a really tough fight to pick.
It is. It's a hard fight. If you had to pick, it's... Yeah, I mean, who are you guys going for, Tassie? Obviously, you're going to say Susie, because you're in the corner.
I just picked Susie to win, yeah. On points.
On points, Lynden?
Yeah, look, I'm gonna go the same. Look, I can't pick either one, to be honest, but I'm going to go with Susie just because of the experience. And when you've got Lim Jekka saying that and he knows Shanika very, very well as well. He was in the corner for her first few fights. Seen them spar, obviously, a lot of rounds as well. And when he's saying that he's never seen Susie as good as she looks now, I know everyone will say that, but Lim's not the sort of guy that's going to lie to you. I just think, and Lim's obviously a very good trainer. What
a good bloke, Lim Jekka. What a legend.
And I just think Susie's going to be a lot more settled than Shanika. And as I said, the experience and everything else. And her work rate's probably a big thing as well. I think her work rate will be enough just to get over Shanika Johnson, even though it's 10, it's not 12, of course. But I think Susie Ramadan will get across the board. I think she'll hydrate enough or bulk up enough that she'll be strong. And I think she'll outwork Shanika for a close 10-round decision win.
I agree. I'm going with Susie as well. And also the fact that Shanika's got no trainer. I mean, that... Yeah,
it must be tough.
Training yourself.
Yeah, it
must especially be. when you got Liam Jekka and Tassie Brown in the corner and Reg Jekka, mate, it's not a bad corner.
Yeah, not bad. Yep. What, are you the corner? Are you the water boy or the stool boy? What are you doing?
Lim's number one, obviously, because that's your coach. We haven't discussed things, but I'm there for whatever I need to be, mate.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be part of the team.
Yeah, no, it should be a great experience to be.
Like Peter used to say, I'm just happy to be here.
You're not going to have the pom-poms and be the cheer squad leader there at the back, are you, Tassie?
Well, look, I think that the main thing is who would, like any other time, this would be probably one of the biggest Aussie female fights ever. Just so happens it's in the same year as Shannon O'Connell, Ebony Bridges. But either way, I'm really looking forward to seeing this fight. Obviously, the main fight and the Maloneys will be great, but I'm really looking forward to seeing this fight.
Nicholson as well. I mean, that's a massive fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so many great female fighters coming out of Australia at the moment, and the list is endless on who could fight who at different stages. I mean, down the track there could be Sky Nicholson and Beck Hawker, and who knows? There's so many little, or who knows, could be the winner of this fight versus the winner of Bridges O'Connell. I mean, there's so many different things that could happen. But either way, Australian boxing is in a great place. Female boxing in a great place at the moment, and lots of other girls that are probably about to turn pro as well. So let's get on to the three main fights, guys. Let's start with the Munster. Andrew Maloney is up against Norberto Jimenez. Andy is 24-2. Jimenez now is 31-9-6, but it is very misleading because he lost a lot of his early fights. I think in these last few fights, he's only lost one out of about his last 30, so he's very, very well credentialed. He did lose back in 2019 for the WBA Super Flyweight title against Cal Yafai, so no disgrace in that one. But before that, his last loss goes right back to 2011. So very, very well credentialed. And Pete, Mike Altamura actually said on this show the other night that this is going to be a very, very, very tough fight for Andrew.
Yeah, look, it is. I mean, at this level, it's no easy fights. You've got Top Rank involved, and it's going to be a real. Jimenez is no walk in the park, but if Andrew wants to fight for a world title, you've got to beat these kind of guys.
Yeah.
He's had he's coming in Andrew's backyard. It's non-negotiable. It's simple as that. We could sit here saying, well, how good Jimenez is, but he's had 9 losses, so he's not an undefeated fighter. And Andrew wants to fight these big guys. He wants to fight Ioka. He wants to fight Rodriguez. You've got to get past Jimenez. You've got to get past them impressively.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it, Tazzy? And you obviously seen them train all week down here. You can see the form the boys are in. But what's great about the boys is they're exactly like what Pete just said then. Like, anyone, anywhere, anytime, I've got the belt in my sights, so let's go. That's what you got to love about these types of fighters.
No, look, mate, I love Jason Andrew. I've seen him every day this week. I saw him today. That we're in the same change rooms before they had to go and do the public workout, and I saw Andrew's partner, his wife Chelsea, and the kids and the new baby. And look, I've known him for a long time. I go back to the amateur days with Jason Andrew, as you know.
Yep.
They used to come down to spar my fighter Luke Jackson many, many times. I hosted them many, many times, and I've watched them grow back when they were with Brian Butler. Mate, I'll tell you now, the last week we've seen Jason Andrew. They look so sharp. I mean, Angela Hyder, massive credit to him. The guy doesn't get talked about enough. He's one of the best trainers in Australia. He doesn't get talked about enough. Mate, they are on fire. They're looking so sharp. Their jabs, a pistol. They're both their left hands. Their power shots to the body. Andrew's body shot. I think they're both destined for greatness. So I know Mike mentioned this guy's a tough opponent. I don't doubt it because these boys only fight the best. They travel anywhere, anytime. I'm tipping Andrew to win. I don't know enough about the guy to say points or knockout. I'll probably say points, but Andrew will win and go on hopefully win a world title. He's amazing though. He's a great fighter, Andrew, and we'll talk about Jason in a minute. But they're both they're on fire. They really are.
Well, Pete, you can really tell they're really peaking, and I'll just put that comment up there from James Daly. Top Rank have been following the boys around with the videos, and Jason put me on the spot yesterday. And it's funny when you're on this side of the camera, it's okay. It's all no pressure and it's all good. But when someone actually sticks a camera in your face and you got to comment, I've got to say it's not that easy. I must admit, I sort of got the sweat and bullets there for a while. Not as bad as what Uncle Ronnie Picken was.
It's like walking in the park, mate. It's like having a shower. It's easy, mate. It's easy work.
Easy when you're asking the question yourself, but not so easy when someone just puts a camera in your face and says, right. But Jason was great. I look at, we know that I promoted the boys for many of their early fights, and it's just, for me, I've said it a few times, it's just, and Pete, you're in there as well, just great to just be a small part of these guys' careers. And I'm sure I speak for you too, Pete, it just makes you so proud to see where they are at the moment and having played a part in where they are now. And who would have thought, back in the Malvern Town Hall days, Pete, that they'd be, top-ranked fighters and about to fight for world titles.
Yeah, good on them. And also with Angelo Hyder and Tony Tolge.
Great job. Yep.
Yeah, they've done well with them. But the boys have they've stayed true, they've trained hard, they've listened, and they've got themselves at a level now where they can test at the higher level of international fights. And that's where the money is, and that's where these big fights are. And I'm expecting Andrew to win easy. I think Jimenez will give him I'm expecting a late stoppage and a beatdown.
Okay, so he's Dominican Republic, if I can spit that out.
Mm. No, I've seen him fight. I've seen him in this fight.
Yeah.
K-Fi I didn't rate, and K-Fi beat him. So I think Andrew will beat down on him. I think it's right for Andrew now. Don't be surprised if you see a real bad beat down on this one.
Well, the boys are just peaking at the moment. You can just see it this week, though. It just looks so super sharp. And, Tazzy, it's good that what Shane says here, because it's 100% right, and I'm glad he said this. Top blokes too. Andrew taking photos and chatting to everyone at Queensland Golden Gloves. It just epitomises these two guys, both brothers, so well raised, just gentlemen, and an autograph or a photo, whatever it might be, has never been too hard. Something for fundraising, whatever. They are just quality guys. I don't want to keep popping them up too much, but they are just genuine great guys.
I reckon you've got a secret man crush on them, Lynden.
As fighters, I do, mate, for sure. I mean, you saw them back, and Tassie, you've seen them back in the amateurs, of course, but I said yesterday on that top ranked video, it didn't take a rocket scientist to work out they were going to be superstars, so it was a no-brainer to get behind them in the end.
Lynden, you've done so much for them, mate. I like the fact that Andrew, obviously speaks about it when I pulled him aside as an amateur when he was doubting about going away in the Australian team for like 3 months at a time, and he wasn't sure, and I pulled him aside and said, mate, as the former fighter, take this opportunity. Don't miss out, mate. This is what makes you as a fighter, having those international fights, doing the training camps. And when he won his gold medal at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, he thanked me. He said, Taz, like that time in my career, I wasn't sure, and you pulling me aside, and that was really humbling, the fact that he remembered it. But, I mean, I meant it from the heart. These are the small times that if you don't take those opportunities, you don't know if you would be here now at this level. So
yeah. No, 100%, mate. Well, either way, it's going to be a ripper fight, and there's so many things that are on the horizon for these guys. Hey, look out here. Speak of the devil, Uncle Ronnie Pickens, come on. Jeez, mate, under the bus again. I've got feelings, Now, because he refers to here, and I got it on camera yesterday, Pete. He was at the gym, and after Jason had embarrassed me in front of the top-ranked cameras, he had to pull Uncle Ronnie in, and it was great of Jason and Andrew to acknowledge the work that Uncle's put into the boys. And poor old Uncle was, as I said, was sweating bullets. But, mate, it's my job to throw you under the bus. And we know you got feels, we know you can handle it. But, mate, you've an integral part of the boys' conditioning as the boys were growing up. Well, not growing up, but, growing up as far as the boxing career goes.
Good to have you, Uncle. Lynden reckons,
he's a legend, yep.
Lynden reckons you gave him more trouble in Vegas than I did, mate. So I don't know about the three of us being together, mate. I heard you.
I don't think I'd be able to survive being able to keep up. It's hard enough with you, Tazzy, keeping up. Uncle walks at about 25 kilometres an hour and walks about 20 k's a day. He's hard work, but Uncle, great for you to tune in, mate. And I'll tell you what I'm more impressed about was the fact that Ronnie was able to actually get a comment on the screen and get the feed up. So I don't want to throw you under the bus again, Ronnie, but we know you struggle a little bit with the technical side of things. But there's Uncle. We love you, Uncle. Got his own fan club, does Uncle Ronnie. So
shout out to Jack Dilks. Caught up with him today.
Yep.
I didn't know he moved to St Kilda. I've always loved this kid. He's a great young guy, and I'm going to take him under my wing in Melbourne now. Which, look out.
Jack, don't do it, mate. Stay away.
He'll be at bar 20 next week.
I'm sure his dad's having a heart attack about now, but
with Peter Maniatis.
It's all good, and Jack, and we love Jack as well. He's been a massive part of the promotions that we did, and now he's working with the St Kilda Footy Club and Melbourne Victory, and as a photographer. So great things. Head on to great thing there. There's Ross as well. Well, we better get going with all the other fights, guys, or else we'll be here all night. Let's get on to his brother. It's Jason Mayhem Maloney. Now he's up against Nawafon Kakanha. I think, did I pronounce that right, Pete? You probably know this, but look, a tough one. 56-1-1 is Kakanha, and Jason Maloney is 24-2. What do you think?
probably go 6 rounds. I mean,
Six
he's
rounds,
a tie. Yeah, he's a tie. They've kept him up in the ratings. He's been up in the ratings for quite a while. Hasn't really fought anyone in the top 10 or top 15 in the world. I think it's going to be a hot knife through butter. This will be one where you know 5-6 rounds max. This will go. This will be a bigger beatdown than what Andrews will. I can't see it going past 6 or 7 anyway.
Yeah, I'm with Peter on this. I'm with Peter. Jason's on fire at the moment. Can't get over his left jab. He's so powerful, so fast. And I'm with Peter. I got Jason Maloney inside 6.
Okay, yeah, well, I haven't seen much of this guy at all, if anything, to be honest. I'm sort of going by his record. His only loss was a world title fight back in 2017 against Juan Hernandez Navarrete. That was in Bangkok. He got stopped in 3 rounds, so it probably says a lot about him. A lot of his opponents had losing records, debuts as well. This is, sort of most recent fight, 0-2, 6-2. So, okay, so classic case of a padded record there, but 56-1-1 does look good. But look, the other good thing, Tassie, is both Maloney's. There's no way they'll be taking the fights easy. The ultimate professionals. I'm sure they'll want to put on a good show. And Jason, of course, on the last show was very, very impressive when he knocked his opponent out in 2 rounds. Oh, was it 2 rounds or 3 rounds, whatever it was?
Yeah. They both got world title shots.
3 rounds.
No, both were shots.
Yeah.
See, when if in a way it should be Butler, he'll relinquish, and Jason sitting there, that title's his, mate.
Yeah, well, they're in good positions, aren't they, Pete? Because they're both ranked in the top 10 with multiple organisations, especially like Tassie just said then. Jason, Inouye and he was a Butler of fighting, so if Inouye wins, which he should, he's looking to move up. So,
look, manslaughter. You'll get charged with. Butler's going to get carried out on a stretcher. If anyone does any sports bet Inouye for the knockout. That is an absolute certain. He's going to knock him out. Whether it goes 3 or 4 rounds, I'd be surprised. And there's talk he's going to move up and vacate the belts. That'll be
great for Jason.
What's that?
Which is great for Jason because I think he's ranked number 1 with WBC and WBO, I think.
It opens up the whole division to where it goes. And I know Andrew wants Ioka, who's, he's one of the main guys at super flyweight. And,
good point, Shane.
We saw a good super flyweight fight with Juran Ancajas and Fernandez on the weekend, and Ancajas got beat, the Filipino, but it was a good fight. That super flyweight division's Ioka vacates, the bantamweight division's going to really open up and spread. But the super flyweight division with Rodriguez in there, Estrada and guys like that,
Chocolatito,
action packed. So it's going to be up. And Ioka's probably the guy for Andrew Maloney. Ioka's a bit aging. He started at minimum weight. So, he started at 105 pounds. He's up there now at super fly. So, he's the guy, and he's just past 30. I think Andrew would have a massive chance against Ioka. That's the guy that they're going for.
Well, Estrada and Chocolatito are fighting in December, I think, so that will probably eliminate one of them. But still, those divisions are so hard, especially, the light flyweight division, as you said, Pete. I mean, there's so many great fighters in there that... But again, Andy doesn't shy away from that, neither does Jason. It's like, okay, well, that's who's there, so that's who I've got to fight.
Yeah. I think Jason, it's going to open up beautifully for Jason once Ioka vacates.
Yeah. There you go, WBC and WBO for Jason. Thanks, old mate, Big J. Thanks for tuning in. I don't think I've seen you on here, Big J, so thanks for that, mate. Good to have you along. Good luck, Maloney brothers. Thanks, James. Good to have you part of the program. This is what's great about doing it this way too, guys. It's actually great to have interaction with our viewers out there. It makes it a lot more fun to get through the program. So let's get on to the main event, Tassie. It is, of course, Devin Haney, George Kambosos Jr., number 2. Wow, where do we start? I mean, we all know, we sort of know both parties pretty well. Pete, as I said at the start, you're close to Kambosos. Tassie, you've been pretty close with that. Well, you've been following around the Haney camp all week. How does he look? And, where is the fight won and lost?
Yeah, look, I mean, you got to give George Kambosos credit. If he didn't beat Lopez, we wouldn't have had the first, we wouldn't have had the second fight. So George went over as a road warrior, many years behind closed doors, and done it the hard way. I've always said that and respect him so much for it. He beat Lopez. I was talking to Lou DiBella yesterday about it, actually. They wanted him to have some voluntary defences, build your brand, and then go for a big fight. He wanted Lomachenko straight away, and that fight was a done deal. But then the thing happened in Ukraine. The next best was Haney. Lou DiBella said to me yesterday, I got it on video, and of all the guys in the division, including Davis, Garcia, everyone, Haney's the most awkward. Pretty much stay away from him. But Jim and George wanted Haney. Credit to them.
Yeah.
They got what they wanted. They got the big stadium fight, 40,000 plus, and he got, I believe, $5 million or whatever he got. And he got the big fight. He didn't produce the goods last time. Styles make fights, as Peter knows, and Haney's a very awkward customer. He's got a long left jab. He's got a very good ring IQ. He's got good movement. He knows when to hold. He knows when to be safe. He fights at the right distance, and he does what he's got to do to win. Now, George, I believe George is more of a counterpuncher sort of fighter. Lopez came straight out, George. So George didn't have to find Lopez because Lopez was there. And George counterpunches all day, and he has done most of his career. Now, when you've got to change that now, and the mindset, I think, of Kambosos' team now, probably they need to be more aggressive. Well, what's that mean? Does that mean stop what you do all your career and fight a new style? So does he want to interact and go forward and be more aggressive? By doing that, you're playing into Haney's hands, and Haney's been hitting pretty hard in recent sessions I've seen. So could George walk onto something maybe? I think the style that I think George needs to beat Haney with is the style that George hasn't got. I don't believe he can turn into Jeff Fennick or a Mexican overnight or a Chavez, because that's the sort of style that needs to beat Haney. I don't think he can outbox Haney. And I think if he tries to get too carried away with slugging, he'll get caught. I respect George very much. He's a great warrior, but I don't think he's got the tools to beat Devin Haney. I believe Devin Haney wins a wide points decision, or could even catch him late and stop George. George got dropped by Lopez late. Haney is a different beast. So I predict a pretty good win for Devin Haney, but full respect to George. And I hope I've haven't just said who'd win. I gave you my input from an ex-fighter who actually had many fights, not like a lot of these guys that haven't fucking ever fought at all. Sorry about my language. But I try to think, I think George is a counterpuncher and Haney is bad for George.
What do you think of the question there, Tazzy, from James? Forget the clinching. Is it fair play for Haney to duck below waist level repeatedly?
Mate, look, it is what
you get away with it, I suppose.
It's up to the referee to deduct points, mate. Look, boxers will do whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? You know, whether it's fan friendly, whether it's whatever. If the referee didn't take points off, then it's not illegal. I mean, it is what it is, mate. You do what you can do in a fight to win.
Yeah, Pete, you've been, or you're close with the Kambosos camp. Firstly, just with the referee thing, I think I did see George was very happy they've got. I think it's a Japanese or referee that actually let him fight a little bit more. What's your take on that, and any other gossip that you've got from the camp this week?
Look, first of all, if it wasn't for George Kambosos, guys like Maloney's wouldn't have got the opportunity they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Catch up their careers. So George has done so much already for Australian boxing.
100%.
And brought this good thing in people's backyards by going to other people's backyards to earn it. The first fight, you know, George done a lot of publicity for it. He was here, he was there, he was taking photos. I spoke to Jimmy before the fight and I said, I've never seen George do so much. I mean, he's on everyone's Facebook page. He's on everyone's radio, Instagram. I mean, how does he actually rest? Does he train? And this time he's gone away and he's been a fighter, which he's always done. He doesn't want to do that camera thing all the time. So he's done as minimal as possible. He's been in the dungeon. I think it's going to be a different George Kambosos. I mean, he could take risks with Devin Haney because Haney hasn't got the power. Haney can't hurt him. That's a fact. Haney does not.
I think.
So
Haney,
George can take risks. Now, hang on, Tassie. You had your say. Let me have my say.
Come on, boys.
You don't butt in. I let you speak. You butt in. I'll move away. Here you go. Tassie.
Come on, Pete. Come on. Don't split the chew. We're almost there, mate.
Come on, Pete.
No, mate, if someone's in the middle or something,
come on.
You let them talk. So all I'm saying is, for George to win this fight, he has to take risks.
Yep.
He has to put himself in front of the sword. He might get caught. He might get knocked out. That's boxing. But if he sits back and does exactly what he did the first fight, he ain't going to win. There's no way he can steal rounds off Haney, where he's going to get more than 6 rounds in the bank to win the fight against Devin Haney. Devin Haney's jab is world class, probably one of the best I've seen. His movement reminds you a lot of Floyd Mayweather. He's slick, he's smooth, he's everything you need. I mean, he's not a power puncher, but that's not his style. The guy's got so much going for him, he doesn't need to rely on power. He does it on skill, on IQ. He's perfect. George just needs, I mean, as he said, are we going to change his style? No, you can't change his style in one fight. But he's got to just take risks, sit on Haney's chest, throw around a few elbows, rough it up a bit, hit him in places he doesn't want to get hit.
He's got to be Jeff Fennick.
What about that, Pete? Rowan asked, does George have a new coach again? I don't think he does he?
He does.
He does. Okay, well...
It's a Greek guy from Sydney, Savas, and it's his first coach he's had. So he's got a new coach. And he's gone back to basics. Brian Wilmot's going to be his cut man. And Brian's watching, great mate of ours. He helps us in corners. And look, he's gone back to the basics. I feel Kambosos is going to put in a cracking fight. People give him no chance, and he loves that. But believe me, I won't be surprised if he pulls off the upset and he beats Devin Haney in a crazy fight. So I'm tipping George Kambosos on points again. And before people say I'm crazy, I said the same thing against Lopez, and he upset the cart. I just feel that George needs his challenge, and I think he's going to get the best out of Haney. And Haney hasn't been in a dogfight yet. All his fights have gone to plan for him. He has not been in a dogfight yet, and this time he's going to get a dogfight.
Yeah, Tazzy, that's a good point, Pete. Old mate Big J, shout out to Tazzy, but Haney doesn't fire the right hand, hasn't had a KO in many fights. What do you say to that?
Well, I mean, look, I've been watching him train lately, and he's still young, Haney. And I think that he's getting better, and he's sitting down his punches more. I mean, you don't got to be a massive puncher to be able to hurt someone. It's about timing. If you're coming in, as it sounds like George is going to probably come in, like a bit more aggressive, the punch only has to travel that far, and it's about timing. So I believe Haney can hurt George. And I believe that he's got to be very careful. I mean, the way Peter's described it, and Peter's spot on, everything he said, George doing what he's done for boxing and everything, mate, he's a warrior. But it sounds like he's really got to change his whole game plan just to be in the fight. So I believe changing trainers is not good, and I don't really want to quote on what I've heard because it's a bit personal. But again, another trainer has been lost. I don't know if it's financial or what it is, but it was Akaway was there. He was lost, and now the last guy from Miami, who I actually quite liked, isn't there. So I don't know about this guy who's got there. Maybe he comes cheap. I don't know.
Yeah, old mate again there. Like Lucy on Tuesday, George has to throw caution to the wind. I agree, Pete. And hey, Pete, you've got a fan in Ronnie Picken. Summed up perfectly, Pete, says Ronnie.
At the bit when I moved away and let the vacant space go.
And Shane just said, "I hope you're right, Peter." So I think we all do. I'll just try and get to a couple other comments there. And you're right.
I'm going to say one thing, mate. No disrespect to Peter and the Greek heritage. I hope they don't play the Greek national anthem this time because that was rude. There's no way that shouldn't have
They
been
play both?
It shouldn't. What?
Do they play both or just the Greek?
Yeah, but why play the Greek one? What? There's an Australian versus
Well, he's
American.
got Greek heritage, Tassie. Of course you've got to play the Greek one.
Who cares?
It doesn't play.
Who cares?
It's like when you've
Who
got to put
cares?
the Aboriginal flag. A lot of people care. That's what heritage is about.
Who cares?
Yeah, look, I've got to probably...
Did Jeff Fennick ever come out to a Maltese song? Jeff Fennick?
Yeah, but everyone's different. Everyone's different.
Does
I
Tim
think-
Zoo,
I
does
think
Tim
what-
Zoo play the Russian national anthem?
Everyone's different.
Tazzy, I think what it is in this one
He
is
shouldn't,
that...
he shouldn't be playing it.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
I agree. I think in the instance with George in that first fight, I think he really wanted to, I suppose, rally the troops on both sides of the fence. Yeah, he wanted to get the Greek... I mean, he's a proud Greek heritage. That's great, but I think he really wanted to...
Everyone's proud of their heritage. I'm a proud Australian. I'm a proud Aussie.
But I think he wanted to play on it. I think he really wanted to rally the troops as far as the Greek fans went. Maybe the tennis supporters and the soccer supporters, and sort of get him involved in the boxing. There's lots of it. But I think one thing I will say, Pete, hang on, what have we got there? Just before we move on there, that's the truth, Tassie. Very difficult style for George to contend with. Love George and hope he wins, but you can't go on hope. Yep, good comment there from Shane. One thing I like, Pete, with George in the lead up to it is that, look, I don't think the promoters would be happy because he hasn't really said a lot, but I'm really happy that he's taken the approach of not the Spartan warrior thing that he went with last time, but went back to the fighting roots and what got him there in the first place, and got away with the flash suits and all the trash talking, and just went back to being a hungry fighter.
Yeah, and look, he's not a stupid guy. He's got a high IQ with boxing. He would have gone over the tapes a million times. He would adjust himself to try and get the style that he needs to do to beat Haney. And the style is, let's be quite honest, he needs to rough Haney up. Haney's never been in a dogfight. He's always had his own way. Haney's a brilliant boxer. As I said, I rate Haney's jab probably as the best jab in boxing. And his IQ is right up there. He's in a 1%ers of IQ. The guy's an absolute Ferrari. There's no doubt about that. I've got the utmost respect for Haney. I've met him. He's a terrific kid. He's got a good family. I've got nothing against him, but I'm pro George. We're pro Aussies.
Yeah.
We want Maloney's and other people don't get these opportunities without George. If George didn't beat Lopez, Haney and that wouldn't be putting the Maloney's on their undercard in America. Wouldn't be happening. So George has created so many opportunities for the Aussie fighters. It'd be great if we can get one last big dance. No one gave Joe Mateo much of a chance when he fought the Lithuanian, and he caused an upset. I think George has got one last big shot at this. He knows there's no rematch clause. He's going to be back to the wall. He's going to change his style a bit. He's going to start brawling. Even if he gets a point taken off here and there, I don't mind that. He just needs to break the line and discharge this machine that he's up against, because, I mean, if he lets a Ferrari purl around, he's not going to be able to catch it. So he needs to throw...
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah.
Pete,
different
Jay Brown made a good point there as well. He said he's worried that George may be focusing too much on staying quiet rather than being himself, because in the Lopez fight, remember, he said, be the aggressive animal that he is, just don't get sidetracked immediately like last time. So what Jay's saying there is maybe he's probably gone too quiet and tried to get away, because his natural thing is to be that cocky little bugger that's in your face and right up there and challenge you. So maybe he's gone the other way and been a bit too quiet rather than maybe finding a happy medium in between.
I don't think it means zero. When that bell rings, it means zero. He's just got to execute the game plan that he didn't execute in the first fight. Rematches in history never go the same way anyway. They're always different. We saw with Zarafa and Horn. It was different in the rematch. Horn adjusted. He made different moves. Kambosos needs now to be a different beast and come and bring it, because if he loses this, it could be the end of his big-time career. This could put him back 18 to 2 years. He's already 28, 29. This is back to the wall. There's no tomorrow. Come out and do what you have to do. And the thing is, Haney's never been in a dogfight. Haney's always had it his own way. That first fight, it went Haney's way. It was always clear that Haney was going to win it. You could tell that early in the fight. After the second or third round, George kept doing the same thing, and Haney just kept sailing away. It has to be different. How he does it and where he does it, I mean, that's up to his team to work out a game plan to do.
Can I say something, Lynden?
Yeah, go, mate.
Peter has just got me excited. Peter should be on the TV promoting this fight. you actually got me excited, Peter, because you do make a good point. It's not a one-sided fight. And you actually make me excited for it because it is. We could see a totally different fight. Like, you're right. Like, it's a good. George has got nothing to lose, and a fighter is dangerous when he's got something. I've said to people about him being quiet, mate. That's dangerous. When someone's quiet, that's dangerous. He's. I could picture him being in the, in a courtroom by himself. You know what I mean? Look, he's a warrior, mate, and I said I respect everything he's done. And like Peter said, he's gave an opportunity for these guys to fight in the undercard, like Jeff Horn beating Pacquiao. But I'm just boxing knowledge and just my IQ. I just think Haney's a special boxing styles make fights. But look, who knows? Be there this Sunday, Rod Laver Arena. Doors open at 8 o'clock. I'll see you there.
Sounds good, guys. For what it's worth, I think it'll be a lot better performance from George this time. I think he's going to really be focused and on point. I just think, end of the day, it's just not going to be enough against a very, very slick fighter in Devin Haney. And I just think it'll be maybe closer, maybe not so much as the rounds go, but I think it'll be a closer fight. But I think Devin Haney's got the class to get it done. Good point there, Jack. There's probably still some big fights for George after this if he does lose. Other fighters are going to want to use him as probably a step ladder or whatever it might be. So there might be some good paydays. Let's hope it's not that and he does win. One more comment here from old mate Big J. Travelling champions coming to Australia have an 80% loss rate. Okay, only 2-0 have successfully defended the title. Kessler and I can't pronounce his name. He's the one that beat Danny Green, of course. Well, so what do you, Pete? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say exactly what we just said. I think this is going to be a different fight to the first one, and you'll see a different Kambosos, and it's just going to be a different fight. I'm really banking on George to show his fighting qualities, and I think he's smart enough to do that. I really do think his IQ. I think he's watched the fight 100 times and have gone over the old way he needs to do it. And the trainer he's got now, that's the first trainer he had for his first 10 fights.
Yeah.
So they're going back to the basics, back to the future. It's going to be very, very interesting. And I'm just hoping he pulls an upset because
Peter, can I ask a question, Peter? Are you meaning these first 10 amateur fights?
Yeah.
Because Igor was his coach for many, many years, and most of his
Yeah. But that coach has always been there with George.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's always been there, and he's always understood George. So I mean, so he's been there. When I mean from the start, obviously his amateur career. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's 2 out of 3 for Haney. So Tazzy and I are both gone for Devin Haney. As I said, I think it's going to be close, but I still think Haney gets the job. I think, Tazzy, you said unanimous decision or maybe late round stoppage. And Pete, I think you said decision win for George.
Split decision.
Split decision? Yeah, geez, that'd throw a cut amongst the pinches, wouldn't it?
Split decision. And then we've got to go to Trilling.
I can't wait.
I'm
going to go there early. I'm there in the morning to get me credentials. I might even stay there overnight, get a mattress. What do you reckon?
Well, yes, I think, what'd you say, doors open at 8. They've got a lot of fights to get through, so get there early. I think Andy said yesterday his fight's at 11:50, Tassie. So you would think that Jason's would probably be an hour. Well, who knows? It could be an hour, could be 20 minutes, who knows? I think the main event is 1:30 or 1:40, Pete, is that right?
For our thing, I think it's about 1:30. You're right.
Yep. Okay. So get in there, guys. I think there's still tickets available. If not, $60 on main event, and should be a ripper day of boxing. Sorry,
I was just going to say, Tazzy, what are you talking about media? You're going to be in the corner. You're going to need a corner pass. You're in Susie's
both
corner.
Media and corner pass. That's right. Yeah.
Just a jack of all trades, and us poor peasants have got to pay for our tickets. I don't know.
No, you're just telling your Lynden Hosking.
No, I didn't even try that. I happily bought my tickets. Uncle Ronnie and myself are going to go and have a really good day together watching the fights. I'm looking forward to it.
I'll be sitting with my good friend. I'll be sitting next to Splinter maniatis.
Might see you there anyway.
We'll both have a laugh. I'll run into your Lynden and we'll have a laugh like we normally do. And it's the same with you, Tassie. I want to hear some positive comments from you coming from Susie's corner.
Nah, sounds good, guys.
I don't want to just see a towel, Tassie. I want to hear some positive comments.
Yeah. No, that's been good. Hey, guys, it's been really good to do this. It's our first time actually going live and doing it something like this. So I think it's great. We might do a similar thing leading up to maybe some other big fights in the future. But great to have you on, guys. And next week, back to normal. So start practicing, Pete, because the quiz is back next week.
Let's go. All right. See you
guys. See you guys.